once again, this video is going to be split into two parts. First part, I'm just going to be talking about something I need to get off my chest, and I felt kind of cheap about putting that into a whole video, so this is going to be the first half, and if you don't want to watch me rambling about some stuff, then you can just go to where the caption says to go, okay? Second half will be information for Guy Fawkes Night and Mischief Night. Both events are happening this week. For those of you who've had Halloween delayed to last Monday, then I've had a Halloween video that was last week. Go check that out. Part 1. I sent a tweet to Trevor Conroy. Probably, I know I'm not the only person to do this, and I got a reply from him because it was a question about the Nami's origin in Okamiden, because I'd forgotten that he'd mentioned it in the 16th episode. Yes, I'm sad that I know that off the top of my head. He's already mentioned it, and so I forget about it, and I think I know where it's from because I read this story elsewhere. It might say something about her origins. It says to me, no, I've already said it in the Demon Market. It's like, I'm an idiot. But my point is, I really should have been more clear about what I was asking, because the story I thought Nanami was from is the same story that the Wet Jewel and Dry Jewel are from, which is why I thought Nanami would be that story. But it's from a story called The Sea King and the Magic Jewels. My sister has got this book called Japanese Fairy Tales. Very good book for learning about Japanese mythology, but doesn't have all the stories. It's got Momotaro, but hasn't got story about Waka, hasn't got Isun 1-inch, but it's got this one, Sea King and the Magic Jewels. This is where the Water Jewel and the Dry Jewel come from, known in here as the Tide Flowing and the Tide Ebbing Jewel. And I do believe this is also where Karude and, oh god, I can't remember his name, his son comes from, the one who's in the Argata Forest and is friends with the Ume. I think this is where they come from as well. It mentions a hunter and a fisherman, and the fisherman loses his hook because he swapped professions with his brother, and his brother lost the hook. So yeah, that was kind of a bit meh, and I felt so stupid, and I was like, oh shit, he probably thinks I'm an idiot, and I got really upset about it, to be honest, even though this was a few days ago, so it's kind of faded away, but I was really not happy about it, not in an angry way, but in a really meh kind of way, and he would probably be utterly mortified if he realised I'd had that kind of reaction, because it's a lot stronger than I'm saying it was. And the fact is, I would have had that reaction whether it was somebody I didn't know or somebody whether I knew personally. So yeah, because as you probably gathered from my Let's Play videos, I do have some self-confidence issues. There you go, I said it. And so the fact that I made myself sound like an idiot to someone that I admire and respect, that's kind of put me down quite a bit. But hey, not his fault. He was just correcting me on me being an absolute twonk. Also, with this vlogging thing, I should probably put this book away because I'm not just fiddling with it. There's something else I wanted to say. This vlogging thing, because there are two ways of doing it, and I'm sort of trying to find my feet still. So there's the Charlie So Cool-like way of doing it, which is having a set theme for each vlog and being entertaining throughout, and then there's the Breaking NCS style where you just talk about some random shit and it's still somehow entertaining. I don't know whether I should be going, which one I should be going for. I know I should try and find my own way, but there's two very distinct styles and I don't know which one to go for. British vloggers seem to go for the scripted theme to the video style, though there are obviously exceptions. And again, Breaking NCS is obviously American, but even so, there are exceptions to that rule. And plus, if I did go Charlie is so cool like Groot, I would probably be uploading as often as he does, which is about once a month if you're lucky. Okay, I've probably talked enough, so part 2. This is going to be on Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night, and Mischief Night, which you might or might not know. I had to do a lot of research on, well, a lot of research. I used Wikipedia of Mischief Night, and that's where I'm going to go first. I don't know how Mischief Night started. I couldn't find that out. But originally, it was celebrated on May Day, which is the 1st of May, where which is a bank holiday here, and people have fetes and things like that. For the 1st of May, I have no idea. I have no idea why, but it just is. But after the Industrial Revolution, and people moved into the cities, May Day sort of didn't really mean much to them. Because, thinking about it, May Day has something to do with welcoming spring or summer, so if you're in the city, you don't really see all that much, do you? So they moved Mischief Night to the 4th of November, rather than the 1st of May, because it's just cuz, really. I don't know. I thought this was just a Yorkshire thing, because my mum's from Yorkshire, and she was telling me about it, because that's what they have instead of Halloween, apparently. She's quite old, so that might have changed. And also got some books that are set in Whitby, and there is a mention to Mischief Night in there. But I was reading this week's Book of the Week, and it's set in New York, and I find a mention to Mischief Night there. It's like, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, I had a look on Wikipedia, and it's celebrated quite extensively in the States, and in Canada as well. And I think also in Germany, who still has it on the 1st of May. But in the States, I do believe it's celebrated on the 30th of October, the day before Halloween. I quite like that. It's not just Britain that's doing this. I'm not going to list off all the states that do it, because I think not all states do celebrate Mischief Night, but I'll put the link to the Wikipedia site in the descriptions, or just down there. And in the States, it goes by quite a few names, such as Greasy Night, Gates Night, Angel Night, Devil Night, Cabbage Night, and Mat Night. And back here in Old Blighty, it's Mischievous Night, Miggy Night, Tic Tac Night, Corn Night, Trick Night, Mickey Night, or Mizzy Night. It's quite interesting. And stuff that happens on Mischief Night, yeah, I don't know, really. Because I live down south, I don't really celebrate Mischief Night. I only know about it from various books and my mum. And so, I can only assume that it's something along the lines of this. Okay, and on to Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night. Give me a second to go get my history notes. I forgot that I threw them out. Okay. Guy Fawkes Night is what we call Bonfire Night, and I know from, again, Wikipedia, that it's not just celebrated here. There's other reasons for celebrating it elsewhere, but for the British reason for celebrating Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night, is this guy called Guy Fawkes. He was part of a group of 13 Protestants.
Whoa, hold up. I made a serious error right there. Guy Fawkes was a Catholic. The king was Protestant. That was King James I. Yeah, sorry.
Can't remember the exact date, even though I remember doing some coursework on this guy. And he was part of a group of 13 Protestants who were a bit pissed off at the fact their king was a Catholic. I think it was King James II? I think. Don't quote me on that. And they got together to try get a plan to blow up Parliament with the king inside. Now, Guy Fawkes was not the leader. The leader was Robert Catesby. They decided to blow up Parliament on the 5th of November. They put Guy Fawkes in charge of the gunpowder. One of the members of this group slowly realised that his brother or friend, I can't remember which, was going to be in Parliament that day. So he sent him a letter to stay away from Parliament that day, just call in sick or whatever. If the guy who received the letter got quite suspicious, so naturally he showed the letter to the king, who ordered that Parliament be searched. And down below Parliament they find Guy Fawkes sitting at the barrels of gunpowder. And so they arrested him for high treason, as you would. And he was later executed. I think he was burnt, which is why we still have bonfires. 12 remaining gang members, after hearing about this, fled up to the Midlands and ended up having a standoff between them and the king's men, which just, needless to say, they lost. And so they were also executed for high treason. I know it's celebrated elsewhere. I think it's also celebrated in Canada as well, and possibly the States. I don't know, okay? I don't live in the States. But the only other reason I could find was Northern Ireland, which is again Catholic v Protestant. This time it was William of Orange versus King James II, and William being the Protestant and James being the Catholic. And this time Protestants won. So, hey. And that's it for this time. You got your history lesson this week. I don't think I'm going to have another one next week. Hopefully. Yeah. I think you're a bit sick of history lessons. Okay, so, on to Sock of the Day. I have hedgehog socks. Beware of hedgehogs when setting up your bonfire. Anyway, book of the week is Pendragon, the Merchant of Death. I have such lovely books, don't I? Merchant of Death. You're all waiting for something like Twilight, aren't you? They're not Twilight. Some other romance. I do have copies of Twilight, actually. I've got the whole series. Much as I wish I didn't. No, don't get into that argument. That's not worth the argument. What else can I say? There's something else I wanted to say. Italy, this year, my local fireworks night isn't until the 10th because it's celebrated up at the primary school, and it's got to be a day where everyone's off. So it's this weekend, but I can't go because that's when my Taekwondo's anniversary party is, 15th anniversary. So I'm not going to the fireworks, so I can't show you that. So might show you the party, but that's probably won't be all that interesting. Something I wish I'd gotten last year. Ending off on this note, something I wish I'd gotten last year was that last year at Bonfire Night, I was sort of just standing around in the playground, and I see two guys. I knew who they were, but I'm not going to say their names because it's unlikely that you do. You know who they are. So just run past, dressed as Mario and Luigi. I think, okay, that's quite funny, but yeah. Then, not a minute later, two guys who I didn't see their faces, run past, dressed as Wario and Waluigi. So I chase after them, really wishing I had my camera, and so just thinking what kind of music I would have to this. I could just imagine the Benny Hill theme, just as I'm chasing these four. If they do the same thing this year, I'll miss it, because like I said, I'm at a party. It's a shame, but that can't be helped. Anyway, on that note, au revoir, because I live down south, so that was a bad impression of my own accent.